I'm about to go level up, I cannot settle for nothing, I never been regular. Always knew I could do better, I finally made it this far and I'm not looking back. They didn't see all the time that I put in, now me and the money are way too attached. Still repping 919, the city is mine.
Yo, what up? It's Mr. Renew. And I just want to talk real quick about self-regulation. So I'm all about self-regulation. And one of the things that I know about self-regulation, it comes from the classroom. And so a major aspect of self-regulation, which is directly tied to how we grow spiritually, it is based upon the regulation of self. But in order to regulate self, you have to understand what self is. And so in the school system, we're obviously limited, especially in publics. When I was in charter schools, had a little bit more freedom. Public schools, they do a bunch of extra shit just because you gotta account for more kinds of people. So they make you perform instead of make you understand. And because I also did private educations at high levels and outside levels, preceptor and college kind of vibe versus like private tutorer for like little kids. So I've done a lot to see people, and the most important thing is the person. And so what I've done is I've utilized all of my knowledge and I've created what is called the Z9 continuum. And I put a paper on this that I had a conversation with ChatGPT, and it was explaining the concept of zero, and not many people, I think, understand the implications, but here I am just to explain them to you. The number zero is a representation of something, and it is a representation of a multitude of somethings, because I cannot have a whole lot of things at one moment in time. So because of this is what we call a binary system, a 1 and a 0. But because zero has a multitudes of things, you got to see it as ground zero, or the base. So everything else comes from there. But the only thing that can come from there is the one thing that you are. So no matter what situation my students will be in, they're in one classroom. So we got one set of rules kind of vibe. No matter what job you're at, you got one job duty, or a multitude of responsibilities. And it's just one employee doing it. But this one guy got to do it, that one girl got to do it, and all the same ones and ones and ones. So at some point in time, you got to realize as the teacher that everybody is doing it, but it's still coming out different. The music teacher understands we're all singing the same words, but why does this shit sound like this? So the difference is personality. So what I do is I've always liked to help the kids understand themselves some type of way. So I would do like things like personality tests in the classroom, or if they were too young, I would just focus on simple personalities, which is help yourself first so you can learn from other selves. So, before you tell your friend, put your name on your paper, rush to put your name on your paper, and then you can tell them. And then now I got 2 kids rushing to put their names on their paper so they can tell their friends to put the names on their paper. And now do I have any papers in the class that's turned in without a name on them? Only for the motherfuckers who don't listen. Guess what? That's a personality type. So it's not that they're not listening. Some motherfuckers, there's a different variety of that one state. So how do we reconcile this? How do I inject the personality into an individual as a standard of free expression? Again, one rule, one student, different expression from one rule and one other student. This is why we do standardized testing. We want to see if we would have the same consistent education, what would happen. But we don't have the same teaching styles. We teach in the same standard, but again, that's based upon the personality. So what Z9 continuum does is it allows us to inject a new variable. This Z or Z is represented by the number 9. So we went from a binary to a trinary system. And it's simple because it still operates in binary. The reason why it does that is because no matter what, those kids are those kids. But they can alter and change personality expression. So when this kid is an asshole to this teacher, but over here, they're like an angel, don't be mad. You just might not have the personality tools to get this person activated in that classroom or in that space or in that developmental realm. So it's cool because that same kid who don't like you might be exactly what you need, and you might be exactly what that kid needs on the basketball court. So knowing that like different spaces can help you bring out different personalities, and then that'll help you allow yourself to connect on a standard with different things. This also helps you connect with yourself on a standard at different things. So now you, the one person who normally expresses like this upon the one standard rule, you can now expand like that. So the cool thing about this and how this kind of comes together is I use the DISC personality assessment. Some people like to use like INFJ and their 16 matrix. I have something similar because DISC applies that. But why is it similar and other people got the same shit? Because mathematically and geometrically speaking, that's how space operates. But if it's the space, what is it operating? Oh, it's a 0. But again, I said that I moved this into a tertiary or a trinary system. How did I do this? Well, these personality types always have some kind of subcategory. So for me, I have the DC personality type. That's my 2 main percentages, but I actually have all 4. And so what I'm talking about is looking at all 4 and knowing how to interchange those things based upon Z9. So if I have a dominant personality, most of the things that I do, I'm in that dominant energy. So when am I in my C energy? Well, for me, because I'm dominant, you got to understand the dominant energy comes out. It's your masculine energy. It's your assertive and your extroverted energies. That is what my energy is, but that's not how I perceive myself. My sub is C. So in my mind, everything that I'm doing is calculated like a motherfucker, referencing everything. Like, and then the problem is, I got other shit, because of my birth chart, but the topics of discussion on the inside. What am I conscientious about? Well, it's a lot of things. And so I'm always got a lot of things happening in my mind. So I'm processing all of this data, but then I'm acting on it. So people see me doing shit and they be like, man, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he doing that? Why the fuck would you consider that? And then I do it and they be like, what the fuck? I remember when I was young, I used to have like an ugly basketball shot and everybody would like try to force me to do shit, but they didn't understand. They just tell me what to do. The one standard, right? But they didn't understand how to get me into that one position. They didn't understand that everybody different. But if you want everybody to shoot a good basketball, keep your elbow in, right? So then we grow up and we realize that everybody got their own shot. And so then you can standardize that customizable shot. So it's just like now everybody can cook Gordon Ramsay dishes, But beforehand there was only one Gordon Ramsay. But before that there was no Gordon Ramsays. There was other people who could be replaced with Gordon Ramsay. So we're looking at there being 3 standards instead of just the 2. And by introducing the 9, it helps us reflect forms or spaces, and then it helps us mirror presence or actions or experiences. So I say all of that to say this. We got to learn to recategorize ourselves as a 0 through the number 9. And we can simply do this by identifying our states of being. No matter what you are, how you feeling, if you just stop and ask yourself, what number am I feeling right now? we've devised a way to where you can start to connect that to an area or space where you can get the education that you need from you. So if you want to know some more about the Z9 continuum theory applied to you and your personal growth and your spiritual development, keep watching. I'm Mr. Renew. Peace.